In the January transfer window, Chelsea FC broke records, signing 8 players, which led to a combined £323 million spent. 2 players captured the spotlight, making up more than half the sum, those 2 being Enzo Fernandez and Mykhailo Mudryk. Noni Madueke was one of those signed in the window from the Dutch club PSV. It's now been over 3 months since the Englishman put pen to paper, arriving in London, and the 21-year-old has only made 5 appearances in blue, having started just 2 of them. He's played a combined total of 215 minutes, which add up to just 2.4 games of football. So how did he go from being one of the most in-demand youngsters in world football to not even making the bench under Frank Lampard as Chelsea continue to sink down the table? And could his Chelsea career be over before it's even begun? Alright, that might be a bit far, but let's start from the beginning. Madueke makes his Chelsea debut against Fulham, coming on for Mudryk at half-time, where he looked lively and received praise despite the game ending in a 0-0 stalemate. Graham Potter was clearly impressed by his cameo as Noni was directly placed into the starting 11 against West Ham. He played 68 minutes in the tie, coming off for Mason Mount, and rounded off yet another highly praised cameo despite the poor result. He then started his 2nd consecutive game against Southampton. However, this would be the last game he would start as of now. Now, we all know how this game went. We got outplayed and our team pretty much took a day off on this one. The game that followed would be the 2-0 away loss to Spurs, the first time we'd ever lost at the new Tottenham Stadium. Noni had actually started his career at Spurs with the academy, making his debut for the under-18s at just 16 years old. However, Potter opted to leave him on the bench for the full 90 minutes. Now, this is when the Potter out campaign really took off, and if you thought the Potter train was in flames after the Southampton result, then this game turned it into a full-blown forest fire. Any tweet the club would put out would be followed with the same replies, literally. So the club's a shambles, and of course, the players are going to feel it the most. The pressure's put on them to perform, and it's just not working. So after such an expensive month of January, and such poor results, heads started to turn at those who'd come in for such heavy sums. Mudryk and Felix were getting cooked left, right and centre by rival fans, and Enzo Fernandez was only escaping that fate because he was actually performing to expectations. Now of course we're to talk about Noni, and I'm sure he would have seen the criticism and felt the pressure. At such a young age, going from playing in the Eredivisie to playing in the Premier League must have been a huge reality check for him, even if he wasn't playing poorly. The proof was in the pudding. When you looked at the league table, we were still bang in the middle, and when you watched us perform, we were worse than mediocre. I know I'm talking in past tense, but of course it still applies. If anything, we're worse, but we'll get onto that later. A month went by and Potter eventually got fired after 2-0 loss to Aston Villa, in which Madueke came on in the 57th minute. Madueke only played 40 minutes of football in Potter's final 4 games in charge. He was an unused substitute against Liverpool, but it's okay because now Frank's back. Surely he's going to give some of the young raw talent a go, like he did during his first stint. Well, he has, but not with Noni, leaving him out of the squad in both of his first 2 league games, which we lost, scoring only 1 goal and being outplayed in both games. Now, with our season pretty much being over, why is a player like Hakim Ziyech, who if it wasn't for the fact that everyone employed by the club and their mothers were trying to bring in Enzo Fernandez to the club, would be in Paris playing alongside Messi and Mbappe, getting picked over our new 21-year-old star boy in the squad? I genuinely don't understand it. There's nothing left to play for but our survival, and we keep giving game time to these bums who have no interest in staying at the club. I do believe he'll get his chance. He's still young and full of potential, obviously. He just needs the right system and the right manager who's going to give him a chance. Chelsea has a history of signing young players for big money and halting their development, wasting their talent, and then dumping them off back where they came from for £1 profit. But under new ownership, we can only hope that Noni Madueke doesn't end up as a what if.